Most people spend years wondering why success keeps slipping away, why their relationships feel strained, or why, despite their best efforts, peace never really settles in. But few ever look at the one place where it all begins, the sofa. Yes, the sofa. You might think it's just a seat, but in Feng Shui, it's the command center of your fortune. And if it's placed wrong, it can quietly push away wealth, weaken your health, and hold back your luck, day after day, without you ever realizing it. Think about this: you come home exhausted, you collapse into the sofa to rest. But instead of feeling recharged, you wake up more tired. Arguments seem to erupt more often. Work doesn't flow. And deep down, there's a quiet sense that something in your space just isn't right. Have you ever questioned what you're actually facing when you sit down? What's behind you? What surrounds you? Or have you, like so many, simply gotten used to the misalignment? In this video, I'll show you the real reasons why your sofa might be working against you, and more importantly, how to turn it into a silent source of wealth, stability, and harmony. Because true Feng Shui doesn't just move furniture, it moves your life. Stay with me. This may be the shift your home and your future has been waiting for. Number 1. No wall behind your sofa, weak financial foundation. In Feng Shui, one of the most overlooked yet critical mistakes in living room layout is placing the sofa without a solid wall behind it. While modern design often celebrates openness and flow, Feng Shui reminds us that not all openness is supportive. When your main seating has nothing behind it, no wall, no structural support, it becomes an anchorless object in the room. And that has very real consequences for your stability in life. The wall behind the sofa is not just architectural, it carries deep symbolic meaning. It represents support in all forms: financial backing, reliable relationships, emotional grounding, and personal confidence. From a 5-element perspective, the wall functions as earth energy, the element of structure, nourishment, and long-term strength. Without it, your actions, wood, decisions, fire, and financial flow, water, operate without a base. The entire energetic equation becomes imbalanced. In practical terms, a sofa that floats in the room often leads to a subtle but ongoing sense of unease. Even if you don't consciously register it, your nervous system does. People tend to feel restless, distracted, or mentally scattered when seated in an unsupported position. That sensation over time erodes focus, weakens planning capacity, and makes long-term thinking harder to sustain. In financial terms, it contributes to poor money management, impulsive spending, or an inability to retain savings. It doesn't stop at wealth. Relationships, too, are affected. Seating arrangements set the tone for conversation and connection. A sofa without support may cause people to sit uneasily, speak less openly, or subconsciously feel exposed. This can lead to more disagreements, a lack of emotional warmth, or strained family dynamics, particularly in households already under pressure. Fortunately, this is a highly correctable issue. The most effective remedy is straightforward. Move the sofa so that its back rests firmly against a solid wall. This immediately restores symbolic stability. It sends a clear message to the body and to the home that you are supported, protected, and positioned to make grounded decisions. When a wall is not available, Feng Shui offers symbolic alternatives that still restore the stabilizing effect. Use tall furniture behind the sofa, such as a closed-back bookshelf, console table, or sturdy cabinet. If the space allows, position a large-leaved plant behind the sofa, especially those with rounded forms, such as the rubber plant or fiddle-leaf fig. These objects act as energetic buffers, restoring the sense of containment that the space was missing. Design details matter. Whatever you place behind the sofa should be taller than the backrest, visually solid, not see-through, and substantial enough to offer visual weight. Avoid items that are flimsy, overly decorative, or constantly shifting. Stability in appearance reinforces stability in life. In traditional Feng Shui practice, it's also advised to place an image or object of long-term strength on the wall behind a sofa, something that visually communicates longevity, success, or protection. This could be a landscape with mountains, a calligraphic blessing, or even a meaningful family photo. Each of these adds a narrative of support and continuity to the space. The takeaway is simple. When the seat where you relax has no solid backing, your mind lacks grounding, and your finances, intentions, and relationships often follow. Correct the physical arrangement, and you correct the symbolic foundation. From that point, everything you build, professionally or personally, gains the benefit of steadiness. What's behind you right now in the space where you most often sit to rest or reflect? And more importantly, is it holding you up or holding you back? Number 2, sofa faces the main door equals money comes and goes. Most people design their living rooms around symmetry. The door opens and directly ahead sits the sofa, framing the space, inviting conversation, making everything feel aligned. It looks proper, balanced, but in Feng Shui, this is one of the most quietly damaging arrangements you can create. When your sofa directly faces the main door, what seems like a statement of openness is actually an invitation for your fortune to enter and leave just as fast. This setup is common in narrow rooms or modern layouts that prioritize efficiency over energetic flow. The problem is not visual, it's functional. The front door is the mouth of qi, the entry point of all external energy. What comes through it includes more than just air. It carries the rush of traffic, the weight of outside tension, the momentum of everyone who passes in and out of your home. And when the sofa sits right in that path, it absorbs that motion like a sponge, leaving the people who sit there in a constant state of alertness. The body may be still, but the mind never quite settles. In this position, the sofa becomes a pressure zone. Conversations break off easily. Family members sit but don't linger. Guests feel the need to keep their shoes on. And the person who rests there most, often the one who needs support the most, may start to feel impatient, fatigued, or disconnected without knowing why. Over time, this restless current doesn't just affect mood, it impacts finances. You may find that money comes in but somehow doesn't stay. Bills appear out of nowhere. Opportunities don't last. Things start strong but unravel quickly. It's not bad luck, it's misdirected flow. What's happening is simple yet powerful. Kai doesn't have time to gather. In Feng Shui, prosperity thrives in pockets, not highways. Energy needs a moment to settle, to breathe, to circulate slowly through the home. A sofa in direct alignment with the front door blocks that possibility. It becomes a threshold, not a destination. And your living room, instead of feeling like the heart of the home, feels like a hallway. But the remedy is gentle. Even a small shift in position can bring immediate change. If possible, adjust the sofa so it sits at a soft angle, not rigidly perpendicular to the door, but slightly turned. This subtle curve redirects the energy stream so it grazes the room instead of crashing into it. If space doesn't allow for that, create a buffer zone. Place a low table, a lush potted plant, or a decorative screen between the door and the sofa. You're not blocking energy, you're guiding it. Like a stream redirected by stones, the flow becomes more graceful, more intentional. There's also power in anchoring the eye. If you must face the door, Ensure the view includes something warm and grounded. A painting with depth, a glowing lamp, or a small wealth symbol placed intentionally, like a ship model pointing inward or a bowl of coins. These are not trinkets. They are spatial affirmations. They speak to the subconscious. Fortune arrives and finds a place to land. The sofa, more than any other object in your living room, defines how your home receives and holds energy. When placed in the crossfire of motion, it loses its role as a center of connection and becomes a point of escape. But when slightly redirected, shielded, softened, supported, it regains its purpose. It becomes a place where thoughts can settle, people can reconnect, and wealth can stay. So consider this. When you sit down at the end of the day, are you facing toward peace? Or are you sitting in the path of everything you were trying to leave behind? What if prosperity was never the problem, just the direction you were facing? Number 3, bad sofa shape equals conflicts or stuck progress. Most people choose a sofa based on aesthetics. Some pick the L shape to fit the corner, others choose a straight-line design for its sleek simplicity, and some opt for U-shaped seating to maximize space. Few realize, however, that in Feng Shui, the shape of your sofa doesn't just define your layout, it defines the rhythm of your life. A sofa's structure sets the tone for how energy is held, how conversations unfold, how finances stabilize, and how relationships flow. If the shape is wrong for the space, or positioned without intention, it can silently stir conflict, misalign your focus, and lead to frustrating patterns of almost but never quite progress. One of the most common mistakes in home design is placing an L-shaped sofa without understanding how it cuts through energy pathways. While it offers practicality, especially in smaller rooms, its extended arm often juts into natural lines of flow, especially the path between the entrance, kitchen, or balcony. In Feng Shui, this creates an energetic blade, a sharp divide that slices through harmony. Over time, this can manifest as tension in the household, frequent arguments over small things, or a sense that relationships are missing each other, even when everyone is in the same room. Instead of encouraging bonding, the shape enforces distance. Straight-line sofas, though visually clean, present another issue. They are too open. With both ends exposed, they lack containment. There's no curve to gather energy, no frame to hold presence. In such spaces, thoughts scatter, emotions feel unanchored, and intentions become difficult to maintain. Financially, this can play out as plans that start strong but dissolve quickly, money that's earned but not retained, ideas that excite but never finish. It's not just about how it looks, it's about what it holds, or in this case, fails to. From a Feng Shui perspective, the ideal sofa shape mirrors the principle of containment before movement. Energy, like water, needs a vessel. Without structure, it spills. This is where U-shaped sofas shine. Their inward-facing design creates a welcoming basin, like two arms curving in to receive what life brings. The kind that enters the room doesn't pass through, it settles. The U-shape offers a sense of embrace, making people feel seen, held, and heard. Within this shape, conversations feel warmer, meals become more enjoyable, and the atmosphere invites cooperation over confrontation. Financially, it promotes steadiness. People sitting in this formation are more grounded, better at keeping focus, and naturally more inclined to long-term thinking. But not every space can accommodate a U-shape. And that's where the art of Feng Shui design comes in, not to force change, but to adapt intention to limitation. If your sofa is L-shaped, you can still guide the energy by ensuring the tail of the L doesn't block key energy paths. Avoid letting it intrude into walkways or point sharply at doors. You can soften its effect by placing a round rug at the center, beneath the coffee table. Circles in Feng Shui symbolize unity and continuity. That simple visual cue neutralizes the angular pressure and restores harmony in the room. For straight-line sofas, the solution lies in anchoring both ends. Add plush pillows to create subtle boundaries. Use side tables, floor lamps, or soft partitions to visually contain the length. And most importantly, place a solid item, like a table with a centerpiece or a soft sculpture, directly in front. This prevents energy from rushing past the sofa and invites it to pause. The goal is to create a sense of structure around the sitting area, so that the energy, like your attention, doesn't drift. What's often overlooked in these shapes is how they affect not just the flow of qi, but the quality of interaction. The wrong sofa shape can lead to family members sitting at odd angles, speaking past each other, or avoiding connection altogether. Parents feel unheard, children feel unseen, and even guests feel like visitors instead of part of the space. Health, too, can be affected. Disrupted energy flow can lead to disturbed sleep, muscle tension, or decision fatigue, because the body doesn't fully relax when the space doesn't hold it right. Making these adjustments doesn't require a new sofa, it requires new awareness. Position your sofa like you would your own spine, with care, structure, and attention to flow. Let the shape serve the life you want to build. And when in doubt, return to curves. Feng Shui has always trusted the circle. It reminds us that fortune is not linear. It's cyclical. It needs room to turn, to gather, to rest before moving forward again. So ask yourself this. When you sit down, does your space hold you or push you apart? Does it invite clarity or scatter your focus? What if the shift you've been waiting for isn't in another strategy, but in the shape that frames your everyday life? And what if real progress begins not with more effort, but with better alignment, right where you sit? Number 4, wrong fabric equals physical discomfort plus poor sleep. Most people obsess over thread counts when buying bed sheets, but never stop to question what they sit on every single evening. Yet in Feng Shui, the fabric of your sofa may be doing more harm to your sleep, your body, and even your mental clarity than your mattress ever could. Because rest doesn't begin in the bedroom. It begins the moment you give yourself permission to soften. And if the surface that receives you feels tense, cold, or synthetic, your body doesn't let go. It braces. It holds tension. It stays alert in ways you don't even notice, until your health, focus, or finances begin to fray at the edges. You come home from work, you sit down to unwind, but the material beneath you doesn't breathe. It traps heat, builds static, or slides harshly against your skin. You don't feel welcomed, you feel distracted. Irritated, maybe. Not enough to complain out loud, but just enough to never quite drop into full ease. And that matters. Because in Feng Shui, your body's physical comfort is one of the most powerful signals of energetic alignment. When your nervous system doesn't feel safe, your space is no longer supportive. And when your space doesn't support you, your ability to focus, recover, and attract opportunity becomes unstable. Sofa fabrics made of stiff leather, coated synthetics, or tightly pressed microfiber may seem elegant or easy to clean, but they often carry a kind of emotional sterility. They are cold to the touch. They amplify noise. They reflect light too sharply or resist subtle warmth. Over time, they send a subconscious message. This is not a place to fully relax. And when you stop relaxing, you stop regenerating. Your sleep shortens. Your immune system weakens. Your creativity dulls. And yes, your decision-making around money becomes cloudy. What starts as minor physical discomfort turns into a cycle of shallow rest, irritability, and missed financial opportunities. This is why many traditional Feng Shui homes avoid glossy or overly artificial seating surfaces in living spaces. Fabrics like cotton, linen, velvet, or soft-textured weaves are chosen not only for their feel, but for their breath. These natural materials carry the earth element. They absorb and release warmth gently. They invite stillness without pressure. And they remind the body of softness, of the quiet permission to pause, reflect, and recover. When you sit on such a surface, your breath deepens almost unconsciously. You feel more held, more rooted. And that grounded feeling carries into your sleep, your relationships, and your money habits, because you're no longer operating from tension, but from replenishment. If you've noticed lately that you struggle to sleep deeply, that your back tenses easily, or that you find yourself restless even while doing nothing, start with your sofa. You don't have to throw it out. Begin by layering it with textures that change the story. A light linen throw in muted earth tones. A soft, woven cushion that invites the back to lean, not stiffen. Add just enough warmth and breathability to remind your space that comfort doesn't have to be sacrificed for design. And when your home starts to hold you differently, you'll start to hold yourself differently too. Because in the end, your fortune doesn't only flow through your work ethic or mindset. It also flows through your body, and your body responds to what it touches every single day. So let the sofa be more than just furniture. Let it be a threshold, the moment where the outer world ends and the inner world begins to truly rest. Now pause just for a moment and ask yourself this: does your sofa feel like an invitation or a boundary? Number 5, no positive focus in sight equals dull luck, foggy mind. You walk into your living room and sit on the sofa. What do your eyes naturally rest on? A blank wall, a cluttered shelf. The television still flickering from last night's news. Most people never stop to consider it, but in Feng Shui, what your sofa faces isn't just decor, it's direction. It's intention. And if what you see every day offers no sense of hope, movement, or beauty, then slowly, silently, your mind begins to match it. Without a visual focal point that uplifts, your energy has nowhere to settle, no story to follow, no clarity to absorb. Just static. Think about it, your sofa is where you pause, where you exhale. It's where you sit when you're tired from work, or lost in thought, or simply trying to feel at home again. And yet, what many people unknowingly place in their line of sight is chaos. A stack of unopened mail, wires tangled behind a screen, an uninspired wall of beige. It's no wonder so many people feel mentally foggy, emotionally dull, or financially stuck. The space designed for recovery has no direction, no visual anchor, no energetic center. In Feng Shui, the line of sight from the sofa holds subtle power. It's a channel for qi, the life force to gather and be guided. A well-placed image, object, or view can activate inspiration, attract blessings, or promote emotional harmony. But when that direction is void, obstructed, or filled with confusing symbols, the energy disperses. And with it goes your focus, your calm, and eventually, your fortune. A living room without a positive focal point is like a compass with no north. It invites wandering thoughts, scattered intentions, and decisions that lack alignment. Some people report feeling stuck in life and can't quite explain why. Others say their financial plans always seem to stall just before completion. These aren't always problems of effort. They're often problems of orientation. If your mind doesn't have somewhere good to land while resting, it can't properly recharge. You can't attract luck if the place you go to feel safe is quietly draining your direction. So what can you do? Start simply. Look directly ahead from where you sit. What do you see? If it feels flat, chaotic, or uninspiring, change it. Introduce a piece of art that evokes a sense of movement, like flowing water, a sunrise, or a gentle landscape. Place a tall plant with upward growth to represent progress and life. Even a carefully chosen lamp or altar object can serve as a new symbolic north. The goal is not decoration, it's orientation. You're giving your mind and heart something to walk toward, even while sitting still. Because when your space provides a clear, nourishing view, your thoughts begin to mirror that clarity. Your emotional state lifts. Your decisions sharpen. And like the first step on a path, your fortune begins to move forward again. All because your living room no longer holds your energy hostage in dullness. It gives it direction. So tonight, as you settle into your couch, don't just ask yourself if the room is comfortable. Ask, what am I facing? And is it something that gives me hope? Number 6, broken items, stuck finances, and failing health. We often overlook the things that no longer work. A chipped vase, a lamp with a flickering bulb, a drawer that sticks. These seem harmless, even forgettable. But in Feng Shui, broken items aren't just broken things. They're broken signals, broken promises, broken energy, especially around the sofa, the heart of your living room, and a key point of stillness in your home. These silent disruptions begin to echo through your life in ways you might never suspect. Imagine this: you're sitting on your sofa after a long day trying to relax, but the side table wobbles. The remote doesn't work unless you press it 5 times. The curtain rod is crooked, the corner of the coffee table is chipped. You think you've gotten used to it, but your energy hasn't. Your nervous system doesn't feel at ease when surrounded by unresolved problems. These tiny fractures in your environment create micro-stress, interruptions in flow that mirror interruptions in your life. That job that never moves forward, that savings plan that never quite builds, that persistent low energy you blame on age, diet, or bad luck. But maybe it's your space that's stuck and your life is simply matching it. In Feng Shui, everything around the sofa contributes to the overall flow of qi, the life force that supports clarity, health, and abundance. When items near your resting space are broken or dysfunctional, the energy becomes fragmented. You start to internalize this fragmentation. It becomes harder to focus. Bills start piling up. Conversations at home feel strained. Even your body may begin to echo the disrepair. Restless sleep, stiff joints, a sense of heaviness that lingers no matter how much rest you get. Symbolically, broken items hold the vibration of incompletion. They remind the subconscious that something is unresolved, and unresolved energy attracts more of the same. It's not just superstition, it's behavioral reinforcement. The longer you live among things that don't function, the more likely you are to normalize dysfunction in other parts of your life. Over time, your standards shift downward. Your sense of what you deserve begins to lower itself silently. But the shift doesn't need to be grand. You don't need to redecorate your entire space. The first step is a conscious one. Look around your sofa, not with judgment, but with presence. What have you been tolerating that no longer serves you? What items around you reflect neglect rather than nourishment? Maybe it's a leg of the coffee table that needs tightening, or a light bulb that flickers like a nervous thought. Maybe it's a blanket that's faded and heavy, not from use, but from being emotionally tied to an old version of you. When you repair, remove, or replace these objects, you aren't just fixing things, you're reclaiming flow. You're telling your space, I'm ready for clarity, I'm choosing alignment. Energy follows intention. And when your environment says, this works, this supports me, your life begins to mirror that message. So tonight, when the house grows quiet and you sink into your sofa, pause. Feel the objects that surround you. Listen not with your ears, but with your nervous system. Does your space whisper support or fatigue? Does it feel whole, or does it silently ask you to look at what's been left broken? Because sometimes, the most powerful shift in fortune isn't sparked by gaining more. It's sparked by finally fixing what we stopped seeing. Number 7. Heavy curtains and tangled cords blocked luck flow. We often talk about clearing clutter, but what about the clutter we don't see? What about the heaviness we normalize in the name of privacy or convenience? Like those thick curtains that have long lost their lightness, or the cords curled and twisted beneath your sofa like forgotten vines. In Feng Shui, not everything that blocks energy is visible at first glance. Some things do it quietly. Heaviness and entanglement are two of the most overlooked enemies of luck flow in your living room, and they often gather right where you want to relax. Around your sofa, it starts subtly. You pull the curtains closed every evening, not realizing they've grown too thick, too dark, too untouched by sunlight. You rearrange your furniture but leave the extension cords, charging cables and plugs knotted in the corner behind the cushions or stuffed into hidden outlets. You sit down each night in the same spot, unaware that the space around you is holding stagnation. And little by little, life begins to mirror that weight. In Feng Shui, heavy drapes block yang energy, vital life force, clarity, productivity. They prevent the home from breathing. When they hover behind or beside your sofa, they suppress movement, dim your outlook, and invite lethargy. Natural light, which represents opportunity and growth, is shut out. Symbolically, it's as if you're telling life, "Not now, I'm not ready." Over time, your mind adopts this message. Procrastination increases, your sense of possibility dulls. And your inner light, the one that fuels vision and courage, starts flickering. Tangled cords, on the other hand, don't just create a visual mess. In the symbolic language of Feng Shui, they represent energetic entrapment. Think of them as the arteries of your home's qi system. When they're blocked, tangled, or stressed, the entire circulation suffers. This leads to erratic fortune, emotional fatigue, and financial opportunities that slip away before they even reach you. Entangled cords also anchor chaos in your subconscious. They remind your nervous system every time you glance toward them that something is unresolved, confusing, or out of order. The more your environment repeats that message, the more your energy mimics it. Now imagine the difference. A set of airy, light-filtering curtains that dance gently with the wind, softening the harshness of the world but never blocking it entirely. A living room where cords are concealed or organized with quiet intentionality. No clusters, no visual noise. You sit down on your sofa and feel clear, not just comfortable. The space breathes with you. And suddenly, so does your life. This shift doesn't require renovation. It only asks for awareness. Swap out the dense curtains for linen or bamboo shades that let the light play through. Open them daily, even for a few hours, to let the house reconnect with the sky. As for the cords, gather them with care. Use holders, tuck them along clean lines, or better yet, reduce what you no longer use. Let the area around your sofa reflect clarity, not complexity. Because if your sofa is where you rest, reflect, or reconnect, shouldn't the space around its support movement not mimic entrapment? Before tonight ends, take a slow look around the space where you sit most often. Is light entering your life or being held back? Is energy flowing freely or getting caught in the knots you forgot you tied? You may discover that luck hasn't been avoiding you. It's simply been waiting for a clearer path. Number 8, no wealth symbol in the room, no wealth retention. You could be working harder than ever, saving diligently, making all the right choices financially, and still feel like your wealth isn't staying with you. It arrives, yes, but quietly disappears, as if the room itself cannot hold it. In Feng Shui, this is more than just a feeling. It's a reflection of how your space is or isn't anchoring prosperity, and one of the most overlooked mistakes. A living room with no intentional symbol of wealth at all. Look around your sofa. What greets the eye when you sit down, when you look up, when you enter this space after a long day? Is it a blank wall, random artwork? A television that plays noise but reflects nothing meaningful? Most people place their furniture with comfort in mind, but rarely with symbolic resonance. And so, their homes don't speak the language of wealth. They echo neutrality. Or worse, neglect. In classical Feng Shui, every space benefits from a focal point that represents the energy you want to cultivate. The sofa is where the body settles, but the eyes need an anchor. When that anchor reflects abundance, through imagery, color, shape, or material, it begins to remind the subconscious that wealth is not just something to chase, but something to live beside. The absence of a wealth symbol doesn't just mean your home lacks ornamentation. It means it lacks instruction. Energy follows intention. Without a visual cue or symbolic invitation, prosperity energy doesn't know where to land or why it should stay. It flows through uninvited, unnoticed, unanchored. The result? Finances that come and go unpredictably, opportunities that appear but never mature, savings that feel like sand slipping through your fingers. But the remedy isn't about decorating for the sake of appearance. It's about designing with spiritual clarity. A simple golden object, a healthy jade plant, an artwork of flowing water or a rising sun, even a traditional wealth ship sailing inward. Each carries ancient meanings that speak directly to the chi of prosperity. When placed near or opposite your sofa, where your mind softens and opens, their message deepens over time. You don't need a room full of amulets. You need one symbolic object that feels aligned. Something that when your gaze lands on it, you're reminded. Abundance lives here. That's all it takes to shift the subconscious tone of your home, from just surviving to quietly thriving. So tonight, as the lights dim and you prepare to settle on your sofa, pause for a moment. What is your living room silently telling wealth about your life? Is it saying, "You're welcome here"? Or is it saying nothing at all? If your space had a voice, would it speak the language of abundance or silence? And if your fortune had a face, would it recognize itself in the room you rest in? Final, this was never just a conversation about a sofa. It was a mirror quietly held up to the way we sit with life itself. Because in Feng Shui, the objects we rest on are never just about rest. They carry stories. They shape states of mind. They either ground us or leave us drifting. A sofa without support, a view that invites anxiety, a fabric that agitates instead of soothes, these are not just design flaws. They are small, daily messages we unconsciously receive. Messages about whether we are safe, whether we are worthy, whether wealth and well-being are welcome or passing through. Perhaps what this video offered you was not a checklist of wrongs, but a soft awakening. To see again what you had stopped noticing. To feel once more the silent conversations your home has been having with your life. You see, every space either nourishes or drains. Not in a dramatic, magical way, but in the quiet accumulation of moods, clarity, energy. And sometimes, all it takes is shifting one item, facing one chair, removing one forgotten symbol, for everything else to start flowing differently. So before you move on with your day, I invite you to pause, not to judge your home, but to listen to it. Sit where you always sit, look where you always look, And then ask softly, is this arrangement truly honoring the life I want to live? Because in the end, the question isn't whether your sofa is in the right spot. The real question is, does your space still reflect the person you are becoming, or the one you no longer wish to be?